All right, the Suns basketball, and last night they lose in the debut of the Big Three. The Big Three, what was the stat I said, 97?
Of 112.
Of 112 points were either scored by or assisted by the Big Three, which kind of speaks to everything that we're talking about. And for all the talk about how well Devin Booker played and Bradley Beal, even though he only had 9 shots, he shot the ball very well, Kevin Durant, et cetera, the Suns still lost, and there's still lots of problems with last night, but there was still one kind of glaring problem with last night.
It's
and
simple.
That was the execution in the last 5 minutes of these games.
I'm looking now because at one point they had a couple of years ago we talked about this. They had the 4th best clutch time production ever in the history of the NBA. 4th most. They were money when it came to the final 5 minutes. KD checks back into this game, and you look at it, he checks back into this game, and he hits, I think he hits a couple of free throws right there. He comes back and he hits a jumper, and it's a 1-point game. So, like, from there, it's 99-98 Nets. 7:40 left in the game, 99-98 Nets. Why did they not close these games out? And now you come back, and I go a little bit further. They sub Beal back in at 3:48 mark. 3:48, Beal comes back in. The Nets are up by 5. What happens in the final 3 minutes and 48 seconds? KD misses a baseline jumper. The Suns retain possession because the ball goes off Dinwiddie. KD misses another jumper. The Nets turn it over. KD gets his hands on a pass, leads to a fast break, but Goodwin's alley-oop to Booker is too high. They turn it over. KD misses a 3. Booker misses a 3. So we can talk all we want about the Big Three and how great they were. Final 3.5 minutes. KD misses, Booker misses, turnover on a play involving Booker. Man, the late game execution was just awful last night. It was awful.
And the thing about it is, you were at the game. I was watching the game real time on TV. Those are all really good looks for Kevin Durant. I mean, looks that you would, not that he's going to make all of them, but looks that you would expect him to make, right? Or at least make some of them. It sort of reminded me of some of the looks that he was getting last year against Denver during the playoffs, where you're like, what's wrong? Those are shots that he makes. Those are shots that he routinely puts in the basket. And I don't know. Look, you mentioned the play-by-play and everything. It's a 3-point game with 3.5 minutes to go, and the Suns couldn't get anything done. And that
couldn't get the shot. And then Dinwiddie killed him.
And that being said, Dinwiddie hits the 3, and now they're up 6 with under 2 minutes to go. And all that being said, man, Jordan Goodwin was this close to giving them at least one last opportunity to try to steal that game or tie it and send it into overtime.
It's a great play.
But he couldn't quite corral the steal, and it ended up like that. I don't know. I mean, so let's ask ourselves the question, why? Is this still a reflection of this team's, the fact they haven't gelled yet? The fact that they haven't had any time together? The fact that they haven't, that the intended starting lineup and by extension finishing lineup for the Phoenix Suns has spent no time together at all? Should we expect this as part of the process? I guess what I'm getting at.
I just think you've got 3 guys who are, 3 of the best players in the league, and you 2 of them were clearly top 5 or 6 in the NBA. You got to make some shots. This comes down. You're right. Kevin Durant had good looks. Misses a baseline jumper, misses a jumper off the inbounds play, and then misses the 3. Book misses a 3, very deep 3 by Booker, and then KD fouls. With 7 seconds left, you're about to get the ball back. He fouls, which, again, now shuts the shot clock off, and now you have to – you didn't want to foul, but he fouled. I don't know if he was intending to or not, but, just a late-game execution. Even that, forget about the shots. Late-game execution. There's about a 4 or 5 second differential on the shot clock. You don't want to foul because you want to get the ball back and then have 4 or 5 seconds to set up from the half-court a shot to tie or to win it. And then KD fouls.
Yeah.
Execution was just terrible.
All right, I got a thought on this. You listen to the Burns and Gambo show here on Arizona Sports. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to talk about Brock Purdy and this MVP race and some of the people who've chimed in on it. The thought I had was this. You mentioned Devin Booker and his ability as a point guard, the fact that he's being a point guard for the first time in his career, and how some people in your mind are still critical of Devin Booker as a point guard. Is part of it because of these late game execution problems? Almost like Devin Booker is a really good point guard up until about 4 minutes to go in the game, and that's the moment you need a real point guard. You know what I mean?
It's a great question. So So I was talking with Alan Hahn, who's in town because he's going to be doing the Knicks game tomorrow. He's going to join us, but he's using our other studio. So we were talking today. We go back to our days at Newsday, longtime friends, and he asked me about that. Like, what's going on with the Suns in these late games? I go, honest to God, my honest answer, they don't have Chris Paul. Chris Paul never turned the ball over, never made mistakes, and never allowed them to settle for three-pointers when they didn't need them. Chris Paul would always get the guys the mid-range shots. They were the mid-range assassins. They always killed you in the mid-range. But now you're seeing, go look at these shots. 2 minutes and 12 seconds left. KD misses a long three. A minute and 44 left. Booker misses a deep three. Like, when you had Chris Paul, one, you weren't going to turn the ball over. That was not an issue. And number two, he was going to make sure that either him or somebody else got a really good, easy shot in the mid-range. And I'm looking at the last couple of minutes here, and you're jacking up a bunch of threes. And I'm like, I don't know that Chris Paul would have allowed them to take that shot.
I don't know either. And this is honestly the only thing I can think of as being the reason for this. It's like Devin Booker, like Richard Jefferson was on Wolf and Luke today. Man, he loves the idea of this point book and how it's working.
To me, it's been one of the most impressive things that I have seen throughout his entire career. I like what he did here more than scoring 70 points. This is more impressive to me, him showing that he can facilitate. Because there's only a few guys in the league that can do it. LeBron, James Harden, Luka. There's only a few guys that can score 30 and also beat you with a pass. And I think Devin Booker is going to continue getting better as a point guard, and he's already done a pretty good job.
And here's the point that I'm trying to make. When Devin Booker goes for 34 points, 12 assists, and only 2 turnovers, it's hard to look at that. It's hard to watch last night's game and say there's a flaw with Devin Booker as a point guard, that he's doing a poor job or he's not doing a good enough job or he could do better. But then I counter that with these late game execution problems, and I just wonder if Devin Booker is good enough to be your point guard up until about 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and then you're just, at that moment, you wish you had a Chris Paul. You wish you had a Tyus Jones. You wish you had somebody who is more of a pure point guard who might have more experience in those late-game situations, setting guys up. But then I say that, those looks for Kevin Durant, there was nothing
How about
wrong
the pass
with
to
them.
Kata Bates-Diop? You get the.
Oh, it was a beautiful pass.
I mean,
come
on.
The 2-1 flush.
I mean, it was a 2-point game. That was a beautiful play by Booker. Like, it was unbelievable.
I admit I'm not suggesting I know the answer to this. I'm merely spitballing and wondering if this could be the answer. Is this at least a possibility that we have to consider? Because you're right, that pass he made at KBD was great,
right?
Fantastic.
And that was so fast, and it needed to happen fast, so the Suns were going to be able to get possession back. But instead, KD fouls, and then so it made it harder. But they got that basket very quickly. It was a beautiful play from Booker to Kata Bates-Diop. I don't think Booker is anywhere near part of the problem, but I would like to see them not settle for these threes when they don't need them.
Yeah.
Because they're not a great three-point shooting team. Without Gordon and Allen.
Gordon and Allen, you could see it last night. They really missed those guys, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.